Google is a monopolist and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. That's the landmark verdict against Google in an antitrust case over its search engine. The ruling, written by Judge Amit Mehta of the US District Court for the District of Columbia, marks the first anti-monopoly decision against a tech company in decades. So what is this case? What is its origin? And what implications does the verdict have for Google? Let's dive in and find out. Let's first take you through the origin and the details of the case. The US Department of Justice and a bipartisan group of attorney generals from 38 states and territories filed separate antitrust suits against Google in 2020. The trial began in September 2023 and the closing arguments were heard in May this year. The trial saw many big names from the US tech industry, including Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google's parent company Alphabet, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and Apple's Senior Vice President Eddie Q. The overarching allegation against Google was that it had cornered a dominant share of general search services, particularly using exclusionary deals with phone makers such as Apple and Samsung, as well as with browsers like Mozilla. In doing so, the government alleged Google had additionally monopolized the search advertising market by effectively cutting off key distribution channels for rivals. In fact, during the hearing, it was revealed that just in 2022, Google paid Apple $20 billion to secure the default search engine spot on iPhone browsers. Google defended itself by arguing it had maintained consistent actions before and after it became dominant in the market. It also claimed that its contracts with phone and browser makers like Apple were not exclusionary. However, in his verdict, Justice Amit Mehta rejected those arguments. On Google's business practices, he said, and I quote, "The same conduct can be exclusionary when done by a dominant player, even if it's not when it's done by a smaller one." End of quote. Talking about Google's deal with Apple, Mehta noted, and again I quote, "The prospect of losing tens of billions in guaranteed revenue from Google, which presently comes at little to no cost to Apple, disincentivizes Apple from launching its own search engine when it otherwise has built the capacity to do so." End of quote. So what does this verdict mean for Google? Well, that isn't decided as yet, as the first phase of the hearing was only about the company's liability. The verdict's implications will be clear once the court begins the next phase, which focuses on remedies. Experts believe the outcome could range from a ban on certain business practices to a breakup of Google's search business. Google has said it plans to appeal this ruling.